The day I came home and my key no longer fit my own front door, I thought it had to be a mistake. Then I looked through the living room window and saw my mother-in-law sitting on my couch, drinking coffee like she owned the place. She smiled when she noticed me outside. Now that smile almost destroyed me. My name is Amanda Brooks, and until that day, I believed I had a happy marriage. My husband, Daniel, and I had been married for 11 years. We had 2 wonderful children, Ethan and Lily. I left my marketing career after Ethan was born because Daniel convinced me that staying home would be better for our family. "I'll take care of everything," he always promised. I believed him. For years, I cooked every meal, managed every doctor's appointment, helped with homework, and made our house feel like a home. The only person who never treated it like my home was Daniel's mother, Linda. From the day we got married, she made it clear that I would never be good enough for her son. She criticized my cooking. She criticized my parenting. She even rearranged my kitchen every time she visited because she insisted her way was better. Daniel never defended me. He always said, "She's just trying to help." Eventually, I stopped arguing. Then my own mother became seriously ill. She lived 3 hours away and needed someone to stay with her after surgery. Daniel insisted I go. "Don't worry about anything here," he said. "Take all the time you need." I kissed my children goodbye and spent 2 weeks caring for my mom. Every night I called home. The kids sounded happy. Daniel sounded distracted. I ignored the uneasy feeling growing inside me. When my mother recovered enough for me to leave, I packed my bags and drove home. I couldn't wait to hug my kids. Instead, my key wouldn't turn. I tried again. Nothing. Then I noticed the brand new lock. My heart started racing. I knocked. Daniel opened the door only a few inches. "What are you doing here?" he asked coldly. I laughed nervously. "What do you mean?" "I live here." Before he could answer, Linda walked into the hallway behind him. She folded her arms and smiled. "No, dear," she said. "You used to." I couldn't breathe. Daniel handed me a small envelope. Inside were divorce papers. "We've decided this marriage is over," he said. "We?" I asked. He didn't answer. Linda did. "My son deserves someone better." Then Daniel said something I'll never forget. "You'll have your lawyer contact mine," and he shut the door in my face. I sat on the porch crying for almost an hour. My children weren't even there. Daniel had sent them to Linda's sister's house before I arrived. That night, I slept in a hotel. I barely closed my eyes. The next morning, I hired a family attorney. After hearing my story, she asked me one simple question. "Amanda, whose name is on the deed?" I blinked. I don't know," she smiled. "Let's find out." That afternoon, we searched the county property records. What we found changed everything. 5 years earlier, Daniel had refinanced the house to get a lower interest rate. During that refinance, the deed had been updated. Because I had signed every required document, my name remained on the property as a legal co-owner. Daniel had assumed the mortgage mattered. He completely forgot about the deed. That tiny detail became the first twist. My attorney explained that Daniel had absolutely no legal right to change the locks and deny me access to property I legally owned. Not only that, he had illegally removed one of the owners from the home. The judge was not going to like that. My attorney immediately filed an emergency motion. 3 days later, we were standing in court. Daniel looked confident. Linda sat behind him wearing an expensive suit and a smug smile. Daniel's lawyer argued that since our marriage was ending, changing the locks was simply to avoid conflict. Then my attorney stood. She calmly placed the property deed in front of the judge. "Your Honor," she said, "my client is the legal owner of this property." The judge adjusted his glasses. He looked directly at Daniel. "You changed the locks on a co-owner?" Daniel suddenly looked nervous. Linda whispered something in his ear. The judge wasn't finished. He ordered Daniel to immediately restore my access to the home. But karma wasn't done yet. While preparing for the divorce, my attorney uncovered something even bigger. Daniel had secretly been moving money from our joint savings into an account controlled by his mother. Over 18 months, they transferred nearly $80,000. They thought I'd never notice because I rarely checked the accounts. That became the second twist. Bank statements don't lie. Neither do electronic transfers. When confronted, Daniel claimed the money was repayment for old family loans. My attorney asked for proof. There wasn't any. Linda insisted it had all been verbal. The judge looked completely unimpressed. Then came the third and biggest twist. Daniel had spent months telling everyone, including the court, that I abandoned my family to stay with my mother. He claimed I'd chosen my mother over my husband and children. But I still had every text message, every single one. The judge read them silently. One message from Daniel said, "Stay as long as your mom needs you. I'll take care of everything here. I love you." Another read, "Don't rush home. Focus on your mother." The courtroom became silent. The judge looked at Daniel. "So your wife didn't abandon the family. You encouraged her to leave." Daniel had no answer. Then the judge turned to Linda. "And you participated in locking a legal homeowner out of her own residence." Her smile disappeared for the first time. Weeks later, the final ruling arrived. I received half the equity in the house. Because Daniel had attempted to hide marital assets, the judge awarded me a larger share of our savings. He was also ordered to reimburse my legal fees. Most importantly, I was granted primary custody because the court determined I had always been the children's primary caregiver. A few months later, I sold my share of the house. With that money, I bought a smaller home nearby. It wasn't as big, it wasn't as fancy, but every key opened a door that belonged to me. No one could ever lock me out again. Daniel called several times after the divorce, sometimes to apologize, sometimes because he wanted another chance. I wished him well, but I never went back. Linda eventually lost the influence she had over his life. Without someone else to blame, Daniel finally had to face the consequences of his own decisions. Looking back, I realized something important. A home isn't defined by expensive furniture or perfect walls. A home is the place where you are respected, where you feel safe, where no one uses love as a weapon. The day my husband changed those locks, he thought he was taking everything from me. What he actually did was unlock the door to the life I should have been living all along.